Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the ANZCAR Abruzzi Cup here on the JP Simshed Network. I hope you're all well, and tonight kicks off the first night of the chase. Joining me here tonight in the booth is Mr. JP himself. How are you going, JP?
Absolutely fantastic, Carl. Looking forward to some really good racing tonight. It's been pretty awesome the last few rounds, so really interesting to see what happens for the first round of the chase.
Yes, I'm excited to see how this one goes. So as everyone just starts going out on their just on their warm-up lap, we're starting to get some quick times coming through. I'll quickly run through what the chase is holding for us. So the chase narrows it down to 10 cars, actually 11 cars, because we had a joint 10th finish. The winner of the championship, the short championship, well, the long championship to get to the chase was Michael Skurlock. That gives him a 5 points advantage over second place man Jason Martin, who then has a 5-point advantage over Edward Foster. Then 5-point advantage over Josh Micklemore, 5-point advantage over Danny G, 5-point advantage over Hamish Gallagher. Jason Hartigan is next on minus 30 points. Norman Clark is next on minus 35 points. Stephen Williams is minus 40. Allison is 45, and then Hunter is 45 as well. So we've got a few drivers in there now because Matt Hunter and Bradley Allison managed to finish joint 10th place, so they both earned themselves a way into the chase for this championship. At the moment, Hamish Gallagher is setting some good times out there, just up at front at the moment in that wonderful Target livery Taylor Swift car there. As he crosses the line and sets a good time, but just coming up ahead of, well, just slightly behind him on that run was Jason Hartigan. He managed to jump ahead just on the prior run. See if he can manage to get a little bit more speed on that secondary run, though. It looks like the second run might be the slightly faster run here tonight. Tyres are going to be a big thing tonight, though. Darlington is quite hard on tyres, chews them up quite quickly. As Hartigan crosses the line and gets himself up there into first place. Stephen Williams sits in third now, and he's just slowing down. He managed to pop the car up there. Stephen Williams, it's 200th start for the series, so running the car number 200 instead of his usual 98. A few more fast times coming out. Neil Pearson in the second DPR car, just getting up into fourth place now. Joshua Carroll Walden sitting down there in fifth. We've got some fast times coming. So having a bit of a further look down, we've got Josh Micklemore out there as well. He's coming around with the retro liveried Mitch Motorsport team, the Mitch Light, you could say. Coming across the line, how's this going to go for Micklemore? And it's got him up into fifth place. So starting a little bit further back for Josh Micklemore. It doesn't look like Mitch Motorsport are going to take out the full front of the grid at the moment. There's still a few of their cars to run, a few others to run as well tonight. So we'll wait for those two guys to come out and start heading towards the line. We've got Danny G out there now, setting some good pace, and Michael Skurlock as well. He's just set his qualifying run and got up there into third place. So we'll see how this one goes for Danny G on his second lap out here. And coming into the final couple of corners, turns 3 and 4. These are a very tight left-hander, very tricky to get around, very easy to lose it with the car. And Danny just got so close to the wall there, very, very close to the wall there, flirting with disaster. But that nabs him at 7th place. I don't know if he actually touched there, and that might have possibly just been a slight ping to the instant point on that one, because he might have just caught the wall there slightly. Just looking through, we've got Raymond Yeager as well out there now. And Yeager's been having a relatively good season so far, been getting some very decent results, been running up very high in the series as well. So we'll see how that goes for him. And that's qualifying over. Okay, as the cars get ready to jump up, just be a moment. And just joining us up here quickly is Stephen Williams in the DPR car, the number 200 tonight. Congratulations on start number 200 for you.
G'day, fellas. Yeah, thanks for that.
It's good to see you running those numbers and running so much this season, and it's paid off for you. You've got into the chase. How are you feeling about that one?
Pretty good, yeah. Just made it there just on consistency, I think, not on pace, but yeah, it's good to make it in there.
It's been a good, consistent year, and well, thank you for joining us for 200 races, giving us so much action on the stream. I'll wish you luck, and I'll pop you back to your team room.
No worries, thanks for that.
Stephen Williams there, the DPR Ben Max team. 200 starts for the ANZCAR series there for him. Quite an achievement there. So running a special livery and the special number 200 on the car tonight. So as we start lining up here, let's go across the actual grid as we're starting up. Just waiting for things to quickly go there. So up front, we actually have Neil Pearson getting a fantastic lap in there in qualifying, starting on the first row of the grid with Jason Hartigan. Second row is Jason Martin with Michael Skurlock. Third row is Hamish Gallagher with Stephen Williams. Fourth row, Danny G and Josh Micklemore. Fifth row, Joshua Carroll and McLaughlin. Sixth row is Raymond Yeager, Bradley Allison. Seventh row is Adam Roselle and Aidan Schultz. Eighth row is Devon Stove, James Roby. Ninth row, Andrew Dyson and Norman Clark. 10th row, Mirko Dortnack, Roger Clark. 11th, Matt Hunter, Phil Otto. 12th, Hickey Koch, Maloney Foster, Schroeder Curtis, and Kai Sloggett is at the back. I don't think he's actually starting tonight. So we're going to get ready for the green flag here. What are you expecting tonight, JP?
Well, this is actually my first chase, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but whatever it's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly exciting racing. Really hoping for a clean start here and get a few laps under the belt. Here we go with a pace car peeling in.
The green will drop soon and we'll be off to racing, and green is down and away we go. Neil Pearson leading away, getting a good start. Jason Hardigan just next to him, holding him in there. You're not going to see too many big moves, I imagine, at the start. People are going to be a little bit conservative here, trying not to lose the car in that first corner.
Yeah, it's really nice to see there. Jason Hardigan just slots in just in front of Martin, and these guys are sort of moving away straight away.
Yeah, they're going to want to try and make a bit of a gap for themselves. Darlington can be a bit of a troublesome track, and expect to see the pace car out here a couple of times tonight, just because it is such a tricky track to run around. Not saying anything about driver skill here, because even the best drivers struggle around this track. Just saw a little bit further back, one of the cars just getting into the wall. I believe it was Riley Curtis just giving a little nibble onto the wall a bit further back in the pack there. So yeah, it's a very hard place to drive on, and it can really catch people out here. It's not the easiest place to run on.
Yeah, I've heard the guys talking about the track, talking about certain turns, saying that the tyres drop off fairly quickly. Tyre life is drops off fairly suddenly with these cars.
It does indeed, and it just goes off a cliff for you. You will have grip for maybe 1 or 2 laps, and then all of a sudden the car is a real pig to handle. Obviously, one thing to watch out for tonight is that of punctures. Punctures could well be an issue here tonight for some people, just because the tyre wear is so high. Obviously, these guys are going to want to try and make as few stops as possible as we get a bit of a moment at the back of the grid. Got a couple of cars just tagging into the wall, but they managed to keep going. Luckily, Jake Maloney involved in that one of the relatively fast drivers, and I think maybe Tristan Koch as well, just getting a little bit of a bump. But those guys at the back keeping relatively clean out there. A few bumps and tags here and there, but out the front at the moment, Neil Pearson is doing a great job pulling away just in front of Jason Hartigan.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Neil Pearson's really got control of this race early on. 150 laps to go, so a lot of racing left to go, but he's where he wants to be. Jason Hartigan's just sitting there behind him, chasing away, maybe using Pearson to conserve a little bit of fuel.
Yeah, fuel not too much of an issue on a track like this one, even though it's quite flat out. You do get a lot of time to lift and coast into the corners, of course, and it does help you a little bit. But every little counts, and every little can help you in this as well. So important little things to get that little bit of extra help where you can.
Yeah, and it looks like the first three, Pearson, Hartigan and Martin, have created a little bit of a gap to Danny G. Once again, Martin just seems to be happy sitting there in third place, and for the moment to see what's going on.
Yeah, he's sitting good at the moment. He's currently sitting second in the chase cars. Jason Hartigan just in front of him. So just in case you're new to the series and you don't know what the chase is, what it does is it basically your positions in the actual championship itself, the one we're running all season. The top 10 cars get given a heap of points. Effectively, it becomes their season now. So the top 10 are locked in for their position now. So those top 10 drivers are going to be top 10 in the championship. But they're effectively running a whole new season. Their places are counted. So if you finished first in that championship's that part of the championship, you start with an extra 5 points, and then it goes down as you go down the track. So, for instance, Michael Skurlock's leading, and behind him is Jason Martin, minus 5 points. So, at the moment, Jason Martin's sitting in a good spot because he would keep he would gain lead in the chase, or keep relatively high up in there. His main rivals are Jason Hartigan, Danny G, Michael Skurlock, Hamish Gallagher, Josh Micklemore, and the other drivers that made it into the chase. So, those are the ones you've really got to be looking out for. A guy that's not having a great start to the chase is Edward Foster, down in 18th at the moment. So he's managed to gain 8 positions so far this race, which is great for him. He's doing a great drive from the back. But obviously qualifying didn't go his way, and this can hurt him a little bit. Same as his teammate Norman Clark, down there in 20th. Again, finishing that low in the chase can affect you a little bit because you're going to start on the back foot, for instance. So it's all about keeping out of trouble for these guys and just finishing ahead of their rivals, not so much winning the race.
All right, I've got head spins just listening to that one, Carl. I'm going to have to have another listen a little bit later on to work it all out.
That's it. So it's a mouthful to say, unfortunately. But effectively, it's a new championship start for that top 10 finish.
I felt like saying at the end of that, everybody got that?
Yeah, I can repeat if need be. I will need about a gallon of water to get there. Jason Hartigan just looking down the inside now of Neil Pearson. He's making his move. He's got his nose down there, but this is going to put him into a bit of trouble because Jason Martin's going to get a nibble now. Jason Martin going down the inside into turn number 1. A much better opportunity to overtake because you don't lose as much speed through turn 1. Turns 3 and 4, because they're so tight, can really affect you here.
And there you see Jason Hartigan lose 2 spots and then just duck right down behind Danny G.
Yeah, he's going to do his best to try and get back in that line of cars and try not to lose too many positions because it's quite easy to start losing spots here, and it can be a quick thing when it happens as well, because despite the cars not being at their limit here for speed, they're at the limit here for adhesion and grip, and that's the big thing about a track like this. Is grip is your big thing. It's all about that chassis grip, not so much aero, and that tyre grip is the utmost importance. But when you get offline, you go onto those marbles, you lose that lovely bit of grippy track, and you lose a lot of time from it.
Yeah, and we're just looking a little bit further down the field there at Lachlan Urquio, sitting in P10 at the moment. Really nice looking car. I like that livery, and I'm not just saying that because I had to paint it and it took me forever to do, but it's just a standout sort of looking car.
No bias at all, of course, from the team owner there.
None whatsoever.
Just back up the front though, Neil Pearson just made a little bit of a bite into the wall then, just going into the turn number 3 and 4. So a little bit of a bite into the wall there, just getting his rear half into it, and that's given Jason Martin the chance to get down alongside him. He's coming down the inside into turn number 3. He's going to make the move, and it looks like he's going to make it stick. Pearson's going to have the outside line, so a little bit better run off the corner, and that could have saved him that position. So Pearson managed to keep in front of Martin there, just because, again, trying to pass into turn 3 and 4 can be very hard here.
Yeah, you can see Martin just having a look, and as soon as Pearson got into trouble, he sort of went to the inside and started his move. One thing I like about Martin is he really knows how to read the cars in front of him and to pick his moment to when to have a go.
Yeah, he's races very smart, Martin, and he's very good at tyre saving as well. These things are all things that you do not want from a competitor standpoint. You don't want to have to be racing against someone that's fast and able to look after their tyres, and even worse, able to read the car in front of you and know when you're struggling. But Martin can seem to do all of those things. His little internal computer just ticks over very fast, and he catches a fair few people out from that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So quite a few little battles going on down the pack at the moment. Just having a look, we've got a few cars making up some good positions at the moment. James Roby is battling with Lachlan at the moment, down there in 11th place. Stephen Williams is got a fairly sizable gap from those cars now. Lachlan just sitting out in front of those cars at the moment. But James Roby and Bradley Allison, as well as Raymond Yeager, are all starting to battle there. And just catching up behind them is the number 53 of Edward Foster in 14th position now. He's made 12 positions in this race, really charging hard through the field, doing a great job to get those positions back from not a great qualifying session for himself.
Yeah, not sure what happened there in the qualifying session, but like you said, he's starting to make up plenty of ground. He's looking really good, really racy out there. His car's looking good, so maybe he's going to start making his way through the field and seeing if he can get further up the order.
Yeah, start making some positions back up there. Back up at the front, Pearson's still got that lead, not by much, and it might be coming to a close here as Jason Martin starts to get another run on him. Coming down to turns 3 and 4, Martin didn't make the move this time. He sat right on the back of Pearson, and it looks like he's going to try and make a bit of a run into the turns 1 and 2. I think that's going to be his best opportunity for passing tonight if he can get underneath through turns 3 and 4. If he can get up top of Pearson through turn 3 and 4, he could have an opportunity there as well. But again, this track isn't easy to pass on, making it all more notable for the guys that have made up positions. As Pearson just touches the wall again, going through 3 and 4, just getting a little bit of a bite of the barrier. I think maybe Jason Martin might have just given it a little bit of a tickle there as well. So those guys running very close to that barrier at the moment.
Yeah, we just saw Pearson just scrape that barrier. He doesn't want to be doing that too much, I guess. That's going to hurt him. What a run. You can see Martin just got a big run going into that corner there, but he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's the trouble. He's getting a great run off of turns 1 and 2. Down that back straight, he's got a fantastic run on Pearson, but he's not able to make it work through 3 and 4. That's where he's struggling most at the moment. But he's getting a much better run out of turns 1 and 2 this time. He might be able to get alongside him going into 3 and 4, but this could hurt him going into the straight. Looks like he might have made the move stick though, but again, Pearson's going to get that better drive out, and the caution's come out. Caution came out with Pearson just ahead there.
Looks like Billy Hickey's...
Robbie.
Sorry, Carl. Looks like Billy Hickey's had himself a moment here.
So yeah, Bill Hickey had a moment, but then James Robbie's gone into the back of Foster, I think. So we've had a double incident there. Trying to catch it on my screen and see what we've got on Foster, because I saw James Robbie have a big amount of damage on the front. Foster's got a bit of damage on the back as well. So Just a bit of contact there as the caution came out, just in avoiding action to Bill Hickey, I believe.
Yeah, you can see the back of Foster's car's got a bit of a big crease in there, and Robbie's car's not looking is looking a bit worse for wear as well. And here we go into the pits.
Everybody's going to be dashing in, and this is going to be a moment of relief for everybody. The race on pit lane now starts though, and this is going to be an important one. Are we going to see some people gamble? Are they going to just take right side only? We've done 26 laps so far, and of course remember that these guys do have a set amount of tyres. They've only got 4 sets of tyres for the race, so they can't go through too many. I imagine people will be changing all 4 though. Just because the tyre wear is so great out there, but we might see a couple of people throw the dice maybe.
Great stop there by a few people. Here we go with the pit stop. So the total transition time, Williams was a 47.9, Martin a 51.5, Danny G a 52 flat, Hardigan a 52.4, and 52.6 by Micklemore.
Some very fast times out there. Just going back to have a look at Stephen Williams there, and doesn't look like he actually changed tyres. Looks like he may have only just changed 1 set of tyres, I think. So I have to see how that works out for him, because he was down there in 8th when he came into the pit lane. So he's jumped up a fair few positions there. So he might not have changed all 4 sets of tyres there and just getting a little bit of an advantage off pit road.
Yeah, it'll be interesting on the restart to see how that affects him.
Very much so. Sometimes you can get away with just changing the right tyres. Sometimes it's that right front that starts to give off on you, and that really does hamper you. And sometimes you find that a left front, say, will not be running too bad for you. It will be relatively clear and sort of okay for you. But other times it just really doesn't work. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes for him and if it pays off. Obviously, we've seen that passing is not easy here tonight as well, so this could be a good call if he can manage to keep people behind him too.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's going to be crucial. Probably the 2 to 3 laps after the restart are really going to be crucial for him.
That's it. And somebody that didn't pay off for in that pit stop lane, because it's a lot of time to lose there, and it was a fairly long pit stop as well. So maybe he got some issue there or something like that, because he's lost an awful lot of positions.
Could that have been possibly a penalty for going into the pits too fast, Carl?
That's the only other thing I can think of, is he might have got a bit of a penalty, but usually that would be for the green flag. But he just had a very... trying to figure it out now.
Well, like you said, he did hit the wall a couple of times, so maybe he did spend a bit of time repairing, doing some repairs to his car.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Always had a moment somewhere, so quite a lot of time lost for him. Yeah, he stayed in there for some repairs, so just looking at it now, so he's in there getting some repairs done, so that's why he lost so many positions there. So that means his teammate Stephen Williams is going to take the lead now and get out there in first place. So Stephen Williams is going to take the lead in the number 200, so it's 200th start. He's going to lead a few laps, which is always nice to do. And of course, Stephen Williams is in the chase as well, so this is a welcome position for him to be in now.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, another winner of this was Ed Foster, moving up into 9th place, although with that damage on the back of his car, I'm just wondering if that's going to affect him on the restart at all.
Shouldn't do too much. On the rear of these cars, it's not too bad. Generally, especially on the rear left, it should hopefully not be too bad for him. The person it's going to really affect will be James Robbie, who went into the back of him. Just that right front damage will be very, very bad for him, because that's the point of the car that takes the most punishment. So that's going to affect the tyre wear through the night, and also just the steering as well. It can affect the steering, the tyre wear, lots of damage to that one. So the pace car's lights have gone out. Stephen Williams is down low for the lead. Jason Martin's on the outside, ready to take this restart away. So we'll have to see how Williams goes here, because, of course, thinking that he didn't change all 4 of those tyres, he might be a little bit slow away here. We'll see how it goes. And he'll drop the hammer when he's ready. He's waiting for it, and he goes now. He gets a good launch away, manages to get a good jump over Jason Martin as well. The good thing about being the leader is it's your choice to go. So he's managed to get a good jump there at the start, and that would have been the most dangerous point for him, just lacking a little bit of adhesion, because, of course, you can't get the power down as quickly. But Jason Martin now has got a much better turn through the corner, and he's going to go down the inside. It looks like Danny G is going to follow him there.
Yeah, absolutely, and Hardigan's following as well. So looks like only choosing to change one side of tyres may have hurt Steve Williams.
Yeah, that could be not a nice choice tonight. That could really affect him in the race now. So we'll have to see how he goes once they get up to full racing speed again and start getting in their positions. As he goes into the wall, he just goes up into the wall through turn number 3 and 4, takes a big chunk out of the front of that car, and he's going to start dropping back quite quickly now. Not paying off for Stephen Williams there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you saw JCW there go to the infield, immediately sort of take evasive action and then get a massive tank slapper that slowed him right down.
Yeah, lost a lot of speed there, so that's given Josh Micklemore a chance to start running away. And also Jason Martin now starting to pull away in the lead. He's got Danny G sitting behind him, just between himself and Jason Hartigan as well. I do apologise as well about any wrong calls tonight, because we're running the retro liveries. It confuses me, as it's not that hard to confuse me, as you know. So expect me to get confused at least once or twice tonight.
Yeah, and look at this. Josh Micklemore's made 4 spots. He's in 4th place behind Jason Hartigan. He's going to be wanting to get around Jason Hartigan, catch him, get around him, and get with his teammates, I think, and then start trying to dominate this race.
That's it. If they can get all 3 cars up there, they're going to be in a very good position indeed. They can start working with each other, play tail gun, but most importantly, they want to beat each other as well. As Jason Hartigan makes a bit of a run down the inside through turns 3 and 4, but it looks like he might get this one stuck as he comes he goes into Micklemore there. He came up a bit too quickly, and Hartigan's gone round. Hartigan just going up a little bit too soon. Possibly spotter said clear, and it wasn't quite ready for it, and he just went up into Micklemore, and around he went. So a very easy thing to go wrong there. But this is what happens when you're racing so close.
And you can see here all the cars going into evasive action, avoiding Hartigan. I think as much as anything else, Hartigan's quick, but it might have been just a little bit of a rookie mistake. Like you said, maybe his spotter told him that he was clear and he moved up and he wasn't. That's
it. It can easily happen. It's what happened at Daytona as well. So same thing happened at Daytona with Kai Sloggett. His spotter said clear when it wasn't. And it is that thing that it's just a couple of millimeters that makes those differences. And it can really make a difference there. And it was Danny G, of course, not Josh Micklemore again. So the paint jobs have already thrown me out.
And this has absolutely played into the hands of Mitch Motorsport as long as, I guess, Josh Micklemore or Danny G hasn't got too much damage on his car. We've now got the Mitch Motorsport guys first, second and third. We do, but if we have a closer look at those 2 cars, there is a bit of damage to both Danny G and Josh Micklemore just on the right front of those cars. So they have sustained some damage through this whole race. So a little bit of a crinkle on both those cars, and that's going to start affecting them a little bit. So that could be a little bit painful for those guys. But we'll have to see how that starts paying out for them. A few people have darted into the pits again, just changing the tyres, getting some fresh ones on, despite only being a couple of laps of green. That tyre difference does make a bit of a gain, of course, but you do have to be careful because you will run out of tyres quite quickly. 100%. These guys have got have got quite a way to go, and they need to make sure that they can get the most out of their tyres. They don't really want to be on two used rubbers when they towards the end of the race, when they have to really sort of keep position.
Very much so. It's the all important last lap that counts. You're not going to win it from the first lap, but you can sure as heck lose it. But if you can get across the line in that first place position on that last lap, that's the only one that counts.
And so look at this after these stops. Ed Foster up 20 positions into 6th.
Yeah, great run there from Foster. Another person that's having a good run, actually, is Matt Hunter down there in 12th position. He's managed to make 9 positions up so far, this being his first season in the Cup cars. Obviously, Matt Hunter was our faithful producer / cameraman / camera slave for many seasons during the Cup years. So nice to see Matt Hunter doing well. And this being his first season in the Cup, he's managed to make it into the chase as well. And that's something I wanted to mention just because it's a fairly decent achievement from him, making it into the chase on his first season in the Cup, running the Cup predominantly. So great job from Matt Hunter. Great to see there. And a good start to the race from him. Sitting just behind him is the 350 of Michael Skurlock in that fantastic livery there, very much giving me Apple vibes from back in the day. But it's a very cool looking car. Michael Skurlock as well, leader of the chase, of course. He's down there in 13th position. And a few little scrapes and scratches on the front of that car already.
Yeah, and looking at Norman Clark's car, I really like this one. This is this heralds back to his 1976 Works Alpha Rally car that he ran, where he managed to race against and beat drivers such as Timo Mäkinen in special stages in the rally in rallies. So yeah, another great looking car.
And for all the younger audience, that's Tommy Mäkinen's dad. Of course, even the younger audiences now don't know who Tommy Mäkinen is, unfortunately. We're getting old. But yeah, Norman Clark, a journeyman driver, many years over in South Africa, racing for a few teams in Alfa Romeo, very experienced driver. And it's great to have him on here, and it's great that he can still race via the fact that we have sim racing. It's just a fantastic thing that we can do nowadays.
Absolutely. And another guy who's had a fairly good run so far is Lachlan Urquio. He's sometimes he's fallen foul of some bad luck, but he's sitting in P8 tonight. So and he's been doing fairly good.
Yeah, good run from him as well. Adam Rosell as well up there in 9th too. Another good run running the fantastic Foster's liveried car there. Great to see some Aussie Fosters on display. But he's in his first full season, well, he's in his first season of the Cup cars, and he's doing a great job at the moment, having some fantastic results. And good to see the rookies actually getting up there and getting some good positions. It's nice to see some of the newer drivers to the sport coming in and actually getting some good positions out of it, because it is possible. Do not be afraid to come in and join these races, because we do love to see new people. We do love to see new drivers, and new drivers are welcome. We do recommend, though, joining the trucks that run on Monday night, just to get an eye in for the oval racing. Pace cars come in. Green flag will go out very shortly, and Jason Martin will lead away with Danny G next to him.
Here they go. All three Mitch Motorsport cars get a good start.
They do. Danny G there just dropping back a bit. Looks like he's struggling a bit on that outside line. He's falling all the way back there. So not going perfect for Mitch Motorsport. And could that be a little bit from the damage to that car? Because he did take a bit of a whack there. So Danny G just dropping back a little bit and losing a bit of time. One of the hardest things to do in a race car like this, and especially this series of this style of racing, NASCAR racing, oval racing, is when you do have damage on the car, usually a caution flag is out instantly, and you don't really have a chance to drive the car with anger. So you might come into the pit lane and get some new tyres and go back out there, or you might go around behind the pace car for a few laps, but you don't know how it's going to handle on that restart. when you get that green flag drop, obviously tyre pressure's down, temperature's down, brake temperature's down, and also the car feels different because of the damage. So it can really be hard to get your eye back in the game. And it looks like Danny G's started getting his head around what's happened now, and has picked up his pace again. But that initial jump from the start can be very hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, you saw him get swallowed up by JCW there. And another car that I like the livery of, the JCW 35 Abruzzi car, which is running a Marcus Ambrose inspired livery tonight.
A big crash down the back. Raymond Jaeger involved in that one, going over on top of his lip, getting a full rock blow over there. So going in there, it looks like he's had a bit of a checkup in front of him. And that's just brought Neil Pearson into him, and over he goes. So huge crash there from with Neil Pearson and Jaeger. A couple of other cars involved in that incident as well. Just looking through to work out exactly who got involved in that, who didn't. So yeah, quite a few cars getting caught up in that one. Unfortunately, I think maybe Riley Curtis getting involved in that a little bit too. So a few cars getting quite a big bump there.
And it looks like Danny G might have decided to go into the pits and get some repairs done to his car as well.
Yeah, he's coming in and getting that looked at too. Jason Hartigan's got this opportunity to come back in as well. So a fair few cars coming in for another pit stop. Mirko Dortnak as well, getting a bit of repair done and probably some fresh tyres put on there too. So these guys have got some nice fresh tyres now. We're on lap 44, so there's been a few laps run since that last caution as well. So they could have a little bit of an advantage here if we remain green. So if we do get a green race from here, those guys could start coming back into this race. Obviously, getting that repair fixed is a good thing, but getting those fresh tyres on can really help out here. Still 105 laps to go, of course, so they'll have to come in again no matter what. But they could stay out a bit longer and find themselves in a position where they could benefit from a late safety car or something like that. Of course, pitting under green here is going to cost you a good lap and a half, or possibly even 2 laps, actually, with green face running.
Yeah, 100%. So this is probably going to might work in their favour.
It could really help them out here tonight. Obviously, this has helped out Edward Foster immensely. He's up to 4th place now. Bradley Allison as well has managed to get his way up there. He's up in 5th place with Hamish Gallagher 6th. So working their way up there, getting into some good positions as well. Bradley Allison, of course, this being his rookie year in the Cup as well. So another driver in his rookie season managed to make it into the chase, which is great to see. Some real exciting young talent getting up in there, some new talent getting into the chase this year, as well as a lot of veterans.
Yeah, 100%. And looking at the starting order now, we've got 2 Mitch Motorsport cars against 2 JP Simshed cars. So these guys have played themselves into the box seat. They'll be trying to work together from here on in to move forward, I'd say.
Yes, a mini Noah's Ark at the front there as they go 2 by 2 at the moment. Shame we don't have some other teams up there just to add to that flavour, but they're getting a good run up there at the moment, doing a good job to get their way up there and get some teammates around them as well. You've got to say the JP Simshed team have managed to get a few cars up into that sort of top 10 now as well, which is obviously good. Lachlan getting up there as well, just behind Bradley Allison and Hamish Gallagher. So some really good positions being gained out there tonight. Some good moves being done as they get up there. Another driver having a relatively okay race. Things are things are going okay for him. Just a relatively new driver to the series as well as Aidan Schultz down in 15th position. Quite a bit of damage to the car now at the front. But he's running down there in 15th position. Again, nice midfield position for him. And he's been able to get up into that sort of higher midfield area, sort of midfield sort of section of the race. A fair few times this season. Has been given some good performances and some good showing. So always nice to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see that he's still circulating and in amongst it.
Well, it's one of the big things is you've got to be in it to get anything from this form of racing, and sometimes just finishing is achievement in itself. Obviously, it can be very difficult when you're having a rough night and you've gotten a few taps or you've gone round and damaged the car, but sometimes you have people with worse nights and you can start getting those positions quite quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consistency is a big thing. As we heard Stephen Williams say at the beginning there, he's got into the chase via consistency, not speed, and definitely a case there, because if you can consistently finish, you're going to get into some good positions and score some good points as well. So it's all good winning a race now and again, but if you can be consistent as well as winning races, that's where it really starts to pay off, and that's when championships start falling your way.
Absolutely.
We're lining up 2 by 2. The pace car's going into the pit lane, and just Jason Martin's going to be leading us off. He drops the hammer relatively quickly, like he likes to do. Josh Micklemore gets a good restart on the outside as well. They're going to be able to slot down as teammates in front of each other and behind. Meanwhile, you've got Joshua Carroll and Foster having a battle there side by side as they go into the first corner. Foster's got the high line at the moment, and that's going to pay off for him. He's going to get better drive as he goes out there. Joshua Carroll just losing the rear a little bit, just trying to get a bit too much speed through that corner, a bit too low. And that's what can happen, is the back end steps out on you. He's managed to catch it, though, managed to get the car back up there. But now he's got a fast charging Bradley Allison just sitting on his tail.
Yeah, some great car control there from JCW, able to catch the car, the back end of the car as it started to step out on him. And these cars, once they do start to step out, can be a bit of a handful to catch.
Absolutely, they are not easy things to catch as they do step out. They're a bit of a monstrous thing, in all honesty, and can really, really be very hard to muscle around the corners. The cup cars especially, you get a feeling for them and they feel fine, and then all of a sudden it will step out from nowhere. You don't know how it's happened, and you go, well, I was just a complete passenger in that. I don't understand how it stepped out. And that's the thing that can throw people off quite quickly.
Yeah, and you can see here Bradley Allison is already all over the back of JCW's car, giving him the hurry on.
Yeah, he's trying to push him along at the moment. He wants to get up there. He wants to make sure he can actually get a good position. As the cars are just getting a little bit squirrely out there now, as they're just sort of getting back out there, getting things going again, getting back up to racing speeds, things like that. You've seen a bit of a gap forming as well from the cars from Adam Rosell to Devon Stove. A little bit of a gap forming there, so they're starting to pull away a little bit. A hard charging Neil Pearson's coming back up, though. He's doing a great job, just charging his way up there. Andrew Dyson as well with him. So those guys are absolutely flying at the moment, doing a great job just climbing up the field.
Yeah, and I'd say that's the advantage of fresh rubber and a repaired car.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a difference having that slightly fresher tyre on, and of course having a car that actually works. So they're starting to make up some good positions now, climbing their way back up the field from that earlier mistake. A little bit further back, we've got Danny G, who's climbing his way up as well. So he's working his way back up the field too. He's currently in 20th place, but he's slowly climbing up there. And I've lost sight of him at the moment. There we go. 22nd, Jason Hartigan as well. He's starting to work his way up the field as well, just getting past Tristan Koch now. So expect to see Danny G and Jason Hartigan working their way up now as well. They start to catch Mirko Dortnak. So we'll expect to see those guys starting to climb the field as we get through this stint, of course, being on slightly fresher tyres.
Yeah, you can see Danny G there all over the back of Mirko Dortnak. He's looking very, very racy indeed.
Yeah, he's got some good speed under him tonight, and good to see from Mirko. One of those drivers that can pull it out of the bag when he needs to, Mirko, and he's got the speed. When he's got the speed, he's a very hard man to beat. We've seen it a few times, and also can be a bit of a cunning strategist sometimes as well. We've seen that a couple of times from Mirko.
And you see Danny G just making the move look easy there on Mirko, and then Jason Hardigan just following him straight through.
Good move from those guys. Jason is really got the bit between his teeth now, and he's trying his best to get back up there. They're starting to catch up to Riley Curtis and Norman Clark now. So catching up to the back of those guys, getting up there relatively quickly.
Yeah, you can see now Hardigan has latched onto the back of Danny G, so this is probably going to work in both their favour now.
It is indeed. Just having a little bit look down, back up front of the field. I think might have had a little bit of contact between Bradley Allison and Hamish Gallagher. No, it was just Hamish Gallagher getting through. Sorry, Bradley Allison being very nice there, letting Hamish Gallagher get through there. So Hamish Gallagher climbing well up to 5th position. Hamish is on a bit of a charge at the moment, setting some good lap times as they go through. Seems to have a bit of speed underneath him in that car. Quite a bit of damage on that right front tyre of his, though. But he's definitely carrying the speed through the corners at the moment. It's not affecting him too much.
And this is kind of reminiscent of Hamish Gallagher. He's usually fairly quiet for the first half or third of the race, and then he starts to turn it on.
Yeah, he does tend to switch it on, come alive towards the middle or end of the race, and it seems to be when people are starting to chew through their tyres a bit. Hamish just seems to be able to just hold that tyre on a little bit better, just eases his way through it. And another notable overtake as well is Edward Foster on Josh Micklemore. Unseen, but Foster has managed to get past Micklemore and work his way up to 2nd place. And now you've got JCW catching in on Josh Micklemore now, who seems to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, this is awesome. 24 position for Ed Foster, putting him in the 2nd place, and now he's starting to turn it on as well. And he's another one of these guys that's fairly cunning, that knows how to conserve the tyres, that just does those consistent laps until everybody else starts to drop off, and then he can just sort of turn it up a little bit and then start to make his move.
That is definitely one of the things you would say about Edward Foster is consistency, and he's been consistently up in that sort of top end of the field all year long. He's had 20 top 10 finishes this season, which is a fairly decent amount for having. And caution's out. We've got a caution out.
Looks like James Robbie.
James Robbie and Riley Curtis, I believe, with that one. So Riley Curtis has just gone up in the wall. Car just got out of it, and he's gone up in the wall, hit James Robbie, and then Jason Hardigan's gone into the back of Riley Curtis, unfortunately. And I think Danny G's gone into the back of Jason Hardigan there. Yeah, Danny G's gone really hard into the back of Hardigan. So quite a bit of damage on Danny G's car now. He's missing the whole front end on my view of things. Quite a lot of damage, but this is going to bring everybody into the pit lane, I imagine.
And let's have another look at their transition times now.
We'll see how they all go now. And of course, Foster's going to be quite low down in the pit stalls as well. So he's going to come in, he's going to stop very early. He's going to be the first driver to actually physically stop. But then he's got a long trundle down pit road once he gets back underway, getting past a few guys and things like that. But obviously it can affect you just on the exit. Sometimes you can lose a couple of positions from that. So we'll see how he does from that one. And looks like it worked out quite well for him. He's managed to retain 2nd place with Joshua Carroll Walden behind him.
And their pit And their pit stop times here, 14.5 for Martin, 15 for Foster, 14.4 for JCW, and 15 for Micklemore. So it looks like JCW is right behind Foster now.
Yeah, he's got up there ahead of Josh Micklemore there. So he's managed to get ahead there and actually get into position there. So good job for him. Doing a great job to get up there as well.
And I'm just wondering now that the field is compressed again, if Foster's going to try and stay with Martin and not let him get away too much.
Well, they'll be on a fresh start now, so Foster doesn't have to overtake anybody else other than Martin now. So he's going to start in the fresh air for the first time this evening, I think. That he's going to have a car, well, not have a car in front of him on a restart. So that will be a welcome sight for him. But of course, Jason Martin has that option to put his foot down whenever he's ready. So that's going to change things up as well. So we'll see how that works out on the restart. Just having a glance down to see who has come out well from those stops, who hasn't. Seems relatively unchanged all in all. Everybody seems relatively in position. Danny G and Jason Hartigan dropping back a few positions again just because of that incident, unfortunately. And that's the problem when you are in that sort of big group of cars, when you're in that pack, when you're in that midfield section, is if there is a bit of an incident in front of you, it's very hard to avoid it.
Yeah, 100%. And we all know that Martin is really fast on the restarts. He likes to clear away and get and show the rest of the field a clean pair of boots.
He does. He likes to drop the hammer relatively early as well, I've noticed from Martin. He'll probably put his foot to the floor just as they get past the pit entry section, or well, past the actual concrete barrier, just coming off the corner as well. So I imagine he'll drop the pedal quite early, and I imagine Foster will be looking out for that as well. It'll be something he'll be considering. Just behind Jason Martin will be JCW, and then behind Foster will be Josh Micklemore, of course. So it's almost a bit of a mirror start for the two teams there of Mitch Motorsport and JP Simshed. So we'll see how that restart goes. It could be an interesting one from their perspective. Of course, just behind them is Hamish Gallagher, who has been quick. We've seen he's got some serious speed in that car again. So we'll have to see how he goes on that restart. Neil Pearson's climbed his way up to 7th now. He's worked his way back up to the top of the field. So great job from Pearson getting back up there. So good one from him. Michael Skurlock in 10th as well. So he's been sitting in that 10th spot for quite a while tonight. We're on lap 65, so we're not even halfway through yet. But we often see Skurlock just sitting in that sort of 10th place and waiting for the latter half of the race, waiting for the final few laps, that final stint almost, to go full out on it. So be interesting to see how he goes from here too.
Yeah, and that seems to be Skurlock's modus operandi. He just likes to sit there and wait for the opportunity, and then all of a sudden he'll take off, and it's almost like you don't see it. You really don't see it happening, and before you know it, he's sitting in second place, challenging for the lead.
Yeah, see, he's got a habit of doing that, just jumping out from nowhere almost. He surprises you with his speed. He's a bit like a ninja like that, and just jumps out from nowhere, and all of a sudden he's there.
I like that. We can start calling him Skurlock the Ninja.
Well, we'll have to christen him that name next time we get up in the box.
I'm gonna give him a little logo of a ninja to put on his car. The Ninja.
Okay, and we're going to start going. So Martin's just waiting for it, and he's going to drop the pedal. Now he gets it dropped, and he gets the jump on Foster. So he held back longer that time than normal. As we've seen on the last few restarts, Martin has waited and gone quite quickly, but that time round he waited until the last moment before dropping that pedal, and it's managed to give him a nice leap of a couple of car lengths from Foster. Now he's got to start pulling away or keeping that gap the same as it was. Could be a hard thing now, as there's a fast-charging Foster behind him.
And that's the thing with Martin. He just keeps you guessing. You're never really sure what he's going to do. Last time he took off immediately. This time he held them back a little bit. Guys were ready to go, and then he just dropped the hammer.
And it's a technique all in its own, a restart on an oval. As we got we've got a car round in the background. It is Roger Clark, I believe. Roger Clark and Devon Stove going into each other. Roger Clark going up into the wall into turn one. It's just gone a bit loose on him, I think. He's just got up into the wall and into...
Just go back. It almost looked like Devon Stove just clipped the back of Roger Clark's car.
It's a very close one with both of them there. They got pretty close to each other. I have to take a couple of other looks at that one at some stage just to really determine it. But they've managed to keep going, importantly, and no cautions come out. Norman Clark did a great job getting around that one, though. He almost got cleared up in that. There was almost a T-bone situation into Roger there.
Yeah, it's a brilliant job by Norman Clark to avoid all of that.
So no change up at the front at the moment, but Joshua Carroll-Walden's starting to look a little bit hungry on his teammate now. He looks like he's got a little bit more pace this run, and is starting to put pressure on Foster in front of him. Josh Micklemore is just sitting back there waiting. Hamish Gallagher as well is not putting up too much pressure at the moment. Doesn't look like he's got the speed he needs at this very second. So he's just not pushing too hard and just waiting for the other drivers to start chewing up their tyres a little bit.
Yeah, and this just looks like it's exactly where Martin wants to be. Just at the front of the field there with a slight lead to the second car. And he's looking supremely comfortable.
Yeah, going well for Martin, and he does like to build up a little bit of a gap, just have that safety net in there, just for himself, and he's building that safety net up again. One of the things you've got to say about Martin's car as well is it looks pretty much pristine. There doesn't look to even be a scratch on it, just a few specks of rubber that have come up onto the front grille. Other than that, no damage at all. And you can't really say that for many other cars out there, as they've all got a little bit of damage here and there, just a few nicks and scrapes against the wall. But again, Jason Martin just seeming to get through everything unscathed at the moment. But that's obviously one of the good things about being the leader, is there's less people to bump into you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We come round for lap 74 now of this race here at Darlington. Evening has turned into night as well, changing these cars a little bit, showing up the nice shiny stuff under the lights as well, making them look very pretty tonight, which is always a nice thing. But Martin is currently leading.
And now he's being held up a little bit by a back marker now.
Yeah, he's not managed to get past Devon Stove quite as quickly as he wanted to there. Stove holding up the high line there, but this has given Foster the opportunity just to start catching up to those guys. So Stove just having to sit on that high line. He's just going to go into the wall because it's very tricky to keep the car up there, especially this late in the race when you start to get marbles. So it'll be very tricky when you get caught out there when you're being lapped.
And the same thing there pretty much happened for Foster. He was held up by Devon Stove, and it's pretty much just reverted back to the gap that it was before all of that.
Yeah, so it's worked itself out almost in that way. It worked its way back into how the race stood. But it's very hard being a car being lapped, of course. It's one of those other skills that you have to learn in oval racing. It's a tricky thing to do because sometimes it's best just to keep your line and just let the faster cars go around you, of course. But if you do get caught up on that high line, especially here at Darlington, where it is a high line race, you've got nowhere to go. You can't jump to the right because there's a wall. So all you can do is just sit up there very high and just hope everybody can get past you.
Yeah, and that seemed to be what happened there, or what Devon Stove had to do, is just sit high, and he got a little bit too high and managed to sort of kiss the wall.
That's it, just that little bit of scrape into the wall, and that of course does make other drivers around you just wake up a little bit and perk up a bit as well. It's almost like a shot of quadruple espresso, because when you see a car going into the wall in front of you, all of a sudden you start checking up, you start slowing down, you start moving down low, just to avoid it. But Stove did a great job of keeping that car up there and not coming back down low and causing an incident.
and we've got Martin there once again catching up to a slower car.
Yeah, just getting past Roger Clark this time round. So Roger just on keeping the low line now. He's sticking on that low line, which again is not that easy. It's one of those things again. You think, well, can't be that hard. But the trouble is, on a place like Darlington, it's off the corner and it's on the dirty side of the track. So you get a lot of marbles down there. So you'll go low to help the faster cars around you. And then all of a sudden, you'll have no grip whatsoever and then start wandering up into the faster cars. And very close there as Josh Micklemore trying to make a move on Joshua Carroll Walden there. But Carroll Walden managed to hold that position. Great defensive driving from JCW there. Good job on him, but this is giving Hamish Gallagher a chance. These guys, Hamish Gallagher, Neil Pearson, Michael Skurlock, Bradley Allison, they've all started to get a few positions up now, as well as Andrew Dyson as well. So starting to work their way up there. Dyson going down the inside of Bradley Allison there. Dyson on an absolute charge through there. He's just absolutely sprinting through as they're going past a few more of the cars that are a lap down.
Yeah, fantastic racing tonight.
Yeah, oh, just down the back straight there. Just a few very close moments. Michael Schroeder just going up into the wall a little bit down the straight and just making a few people just clench their teeth a little bit there. Take a deep breath, you could say. But everything's held out well. But it has helped a few people change their positions. Michael Skurlock up into 7th place now. So again, he's just chipping away now. He's starting to catch on to Pearson and Hamish Gallagher, who's just gone position down. Pearson managed to get past Gallagher. So he's just starting to climb his way up there and move on forward. We know Neil Pearson's fast as well tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes with this one.
Yeah, you can see things are really starting to open up now. Martin's getting away from Foster, and then Foster's sort of catching up to him. JCW had a moment before, but he's managed to sort of regroup and hold his position. So yes, it's really starting to get interesting. And Michael Skurlock now has made a couple of more spots, and he's up in the 7th place.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of just climbing up those positions, just working his way up there. And soon Skurlock's going to have to start looking in his mirrors as the 41 of Dyson's going to start catching him quite quickly. Dyson's got a fair amount of speed under him at the moment, so doing a good job. But we've just up at the front, Jason Martin just lost a heap of time as Aiden Schultz was just blinking in front of him. Aiden Schultz just having some connection issues, and that's caused a few cars to slow down. So people have lost some speed throughout the pack just because of that, going past him, putting him a lap down. It's very distracting having a car blinking in front of you, but that's given Foster a chance to start catching up to Jason Martin a little bit.
Yeah, that's the worst thing when you're overtaking a car or you're close to a car and it starts to blink. You never quite know where it's going to show up.
You do not, and that's the thing that can really throw it out. And this has worked out great for Neil Pearson. He's managed to make his way up to 4th position now, and he's managed to get past Josh Micklemore and Hamish Gallagher as well. So he's flying through there, got himself up into 4th place.
Yeah, he's really charging now.
And Micklemore's now got to watch out for Skurlock because he's starting to close in onto the back of him. Skurlock's starting to think about making some moves on Micklemore now as well. So again, just up at the front, Jason Martin just coming up to another car, just coming up to Tristan Koch now. And Koch is just going to hold his line up the top. But this is going to just cost Martin a little bit of time here, and it's given Foster the opportunity to come up. Foster's just gone wide into the corner, though. He's just lost that grip going through turn 3 and 4. We've seen that all night being a problematic corner. He's managed to get himself a little bit closer that time round, but not close enough.
Yeah, it seems to ebb and flow. Foster's catching up and then he's falling behind again.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating when things like that happen. And it can drive you crazy sometimes when you're driving because you just don't understand how it's happening. You're almost like, why is this rubber banding happening? And it just doesn't seem fair. But then when it starts paying off for you, you do feel a lot better from it. Just jumping back to Josh Micklemore and Michael Skurlock now. Skurlock is right on the tail of Micklemore. Those two are looking very racy at the moment. Barely a tenth between them. They are nose to tail as they go through turns 3 and 4. Skurlock's going to have a good runner here into turn 1. This is going to be Micklemore's going to stay up high, try and keep that nice high line. Skurlock's going to try and go underneath him. How will this go? He's holding that position, and will he get a good run here? That's the important part. If you can get a good run here, coming into turns 1 and 2, you might be able to get a good run into the final corner.
And this is what we've been talking about. Skurlock's just waiting, buying his time, and now he's just switched the light on and turned it up a notch.
He has. Another little battle that's happening. It's hard to know where to look at the moment, but Joshua Carroll-Walden and Neil Pearson as well. JCW having to defend hard against Pearson at the moment.
Yeah, Pearson's all over the back of JCW's car, and he's looking incredibly racy.
He is. Oh, and Pearson there, JCW there, just making contact with somebody. They're trying to work out who it was. With Tristan Koch, I believe, there. So just going up into Tristan Koch. He's gone up into Tristan Koch, and Koch has just gone up into the wall, and he's managed to hold it well, but he ended up losing the tail end going into the wall. Luckily, he just missed the back of Hamish Gallagher, but a big impact there for Tristan Koch. That could have been a caution there, and I imagine the field would have breathed a sigh of relief, in all honesty, from the caution, because their tyres are going to start wearing out soon. Neil Pearson making a move on Joshua Carroll-Walden now.
JCW doesn't even argue the point, he just lets him go.
And that can sometimes be your best option in a position like that. If you're starting to fight with your tyres and starting to struggle a little bit, it can sometimes just be best to let that car that is faster by, because you're going to use up more tyre, you're going to use up more of the life of the tyre, and more importantly, more of the stickiness of that tyre fighting than you would have done just keeping the car behind you. And that can really start to cause a bit of trouble if you really fight too hard. So yeah. Good job from JCW there.
And you can see he's coming under fire from Hamish Gallagher and Skurlock now, so that brings Skurlock up into 5th place now.
Yeah, Skurlock just moving his way up there, sneaking his way up the field as well. Hamish Gallagher, again, having another good late run. Just a driver just to notice as well, in 8th position, Jason Hartigan doing a great recovery drive there, making his way back up into the top 8. Then in 10th place, we've got Danny G there. Not all of his car, but he's managed to get himself up back into 10th. So again, another good recovery from those two.
Yeah, brilliant recovery from both of those two, and exceptionally so for Danny G, given that he's racing without a front end on his car.
Yeah, some may call it an unfair advantage just from the lack of weight on the front end there, making the car lighter and faster, but it doesn't help out at all, really. It does make things a lot harder in the long run. So great job from Danny G there, just doing a fantastic job of getting that car around.
Absolutely.
But the drivers are going to start thinking about those pit stops soon, I imagine. So we'll see how much longer they go. But some of these drivers are going to have to start thinking about pitting soon, because it's been about 20, 30 laps for some of these drivers.
Now, the issue that they're going to have is really, what are we looking at here, Carl? Maybe one more set of tyres to close out this race?
From my very poor maths, I'd say yes. So we'll be looking at the last set of tyres for these guys now. So no more stops after this one. But of course, it's the thing of how many tyres have you got left.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to be wanting to I'd say get onto this set of tyres as late as they possibly can to have the tyres as fresh as they can for the remainder of the race.
That's it. You're going to want the freshest tyres towards the end, just in case there is that late caution, and you want to stay in track position rather than coming in for the pits. But these guys up the front, their tyres are going to start hurting them now, just because it has been quite a while since they last came in. So they will be losing grip, losing adhesion, and this is where you really start to find out who can drive these cars fast with no grip.
Yeah, and you can see Jason Martin's last lap at 29.5, 29.4 for Ed Foster, 29.41 for Neil Pearson, and a 29.3 for Hamish Gallagher.
Yeah, that's almost 3 seconds off their fastest laps tonight. You know, it does make a huge difference here. Those tyres are a big advantage, and those fresh tyres can really make a difference. Obviously, if you get some people coming in for pit stops now, so people starting to come in and get some new fresh tyres, it does start to change things a little bit, because of course they're back on fresh tyres and they're going to be faster through the actual through the corners. So then it can make it harder for passing people that are being lapped. It can make things tricky for you, because of course you're trying to pass a car that's faster than you, and it's not easy to do sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go back and see Micklemore here on JCW, all over the back of JCW's car, actually.
Yeah, he is really working hard at the moment, those two fighting with each other, and a bit of a close battle between them.
And it looks like nobody really wants to blink at this stage. They all want to stay out. They want to see what the other car is going to be doing. First to blink, I think once we see that, we'll see a raft of pit stops starting to happen.
Well, the undercut will be huge here. That's the thing, is if you leave it too long, you're going to lose too much time. Obviously, you come out on fresher tyres, but with it being towards the end of the race, we're on lap 103 of 150 now. The longer you leave it, the harder it can be to catch up sometimes. So, you don't want to leave it too long. You don't want to be the last person to blink sometimes, but you don't want to be the first to blink either, just in case that caution comes out, and that can be a race ruiner.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the lead cars, the lead cars, they're all still in the 29s at the moment. Out of the top 5, Michael Skurlock was the fastest the last lap with the 29.3.
Yeah, Scullock's having some good times at the moment. Him and Jason Martin are the fastest out of that sort of top 10 group that's going around now. But we are seeing a few people starting to pit now as well. A couple of drivers coming in for their stops, starting to look at changing those tyres, getting a fresh set on, and getting to the end of the race now.
Yep, we've got Devon Stover, Tristan Koch in the pits, although I think Tristan Koch might be in for repairs.
Yeah, Tristan Koch will be getting some repairs after that bit of contact earlier on, as they went into each other. Another person that's starting to catch up, though, is Hartigan now. He's starting to catch up, and caution's out. The caution.
It's like Aidan Schultz has had himself a moment, done himself a mischief.
He has. And very close call, I think, for Foster. From what I can see, Schultz is let go of the brakes. Oh, very nearly a big incident there. Foster nearly got completely wiped out. Aidan Schultz just letting go of the brakes there. Not something you generally want to do when you crash in that position. You feel like it's the best thing to do, but honestly, just keep those brakes held tight, because it's easier for the drivers to go around you than it is for them to guess which way you're going. But we're going to get the cars coming into pit lane now for the final pit stop, I'd say, for this race. So the Battle of Pit Road is now on, and this is a welcome relief for all of those guys up the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And I dare to imagine what Foster was thinking when he saw that car rolling back. He would have been fuming in his virtual helmet, I'd say.
would have been a big moment of panic. Just watching Foster and myself there, Foster just missed his pit box slightly, had to reverse, so that's going to cost him a bit of time. How much time is he going to lose from that, though? That's the big question. So we'll have to see when he comes back out how much that actually cost him in that pit box. Looks like he's managed to get out in front of JCW, though, so hopefully it won't be too much, in all honesty.
Looks like it's still a good stop from Foster. Let's go and see the pit stop times. Martin with a 14.5, Foster with a 15.9, 15.2 from Pearson, Gallagher a 14.9, Skurlock a 15.
Yeah, so it worked out quite well for him in the end there. He lost probably about a second in the actual, about half a second to a second, just having to roll the car back a little bit. But after a very near miss like that, it would have been a sigh of relief there, I think, and just resetting slightly.
Absolutely.
Michael Skurlock has managed to get up into, has managed to get 5th place there, just ahead of Joshua Carroll-Wallen, I believe.
Yeah, and the biggest loser out of that those stops was JCW.
Yeah, so he's lost a few positions there. So that is not what he would have wanted to see. This is going to be a real big help for Neil Pearson, though, because we've seen he's been fast all night long. And now he's got that gap closed. He's going to be starting behind Jason Martin as well, with Edward Foster on the outside line with Hamish Gallagher behind himself. So that could be quite a useful moment for him. If he can get a good restart, if he can guess when Martin's going to drop the loud pedal, he could get a good run here.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I guess they're all on a level playing field now, all with fresh rubber. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens on this restart.
Yeah, of course. Pearson having a bit more damage on his car, I think, than those around him, so that's not going to help him too much. But it's he seemed to have speed nonetheless, so we'll see how that one goes for him.
Yeah, amazing race tonight for Ed Foster so far. 24 positions to bring him into second place. Who would have guessed that at the beginning of the race?
Yeah, he's had a hard race tonight. It's not been the easiest one. Darlington is a track that he doesn't mind, I believe. He's quite fond of this track. He quite likes the short track ovals. This style of racing suits him a lot more than the super speedways. But managing to gain 24 spots on this track is a very hard thing to do because it is not easy to overtake here. We've seen it all night long. It's been very tricky to get past and very tricky to climb the way back up there. But I think we've got to also say for people like Danny G, if we just jump back to him, just looking at the damage of that car, you can see that car is missing the whole front end. You can see the actual the geometry of the wheels on the front of that thing. It's missing so much bodywork now. But he's managed to climb his way back up to 9th position. Jason Hartigan just in front of him as well, up into 8th position, despite that incident earlier on that saw him go around. So they've managed to climb their way back up the field as well. Doesn't look like they've done much other than lose positions, but from going to the back of the field to the front of the field is a very hard thing to do, and they've managed to do it almost twice now, as they got caught up again in an incident earlier on in the race. So they've had a really good recovery drive tonight and definitely got some fast cars out there.
Yeah, and this just heralds to their tenacity and how they never give up. Even when it looks like their race is over and out, the last thing you can do is count these guys out because they will find a way to make it back to the pointy end of the field if they can.
Yeah, if they even get a sniff of blood or a chance of points, they will get up there, and it's amazing how quickly that can change. You can't give up. You can't just go, oh well, damage to the car, I have to give up now. It's all over. You do have to keep carrying on. And the other thing about carrying on, of course, is it does give you good experience too. Always important.
That's exactly right. It's the experience that you gain in these sorts of tracks and in these varying conditions.
Yeah, that's it. So pace car comes in, and when is Martin going to drop the loud pedal? He's waiting. Foster's there watching as well, trying to listen, and Martin drops it. Foster gets a bit of a better restart this time. manages to get away well, but Neil Pearson's managed to get a fairly good jump there as well. But that damage to the car is obviously affecting him. He doesn't have that straight line speed, so struggling a little bit there for straight line speed.
He goes straight to the high line to cover Hamish Gallagher too, so good move by Pearson.
Yeah, very wise move there. Bradley Allison just dropping back a few positions, having to just get out of the line a little bit. That's dropped him back a little bit further back in the field. This is probably the worst thing that could happen for, I'd say, Danny G, because he's going to start losing positions just from that damage to the car. Now that they're all on fresh tyres and they're all starting from the slopes, from a crawl almost, he's going to have lost quite a bit of power in that car and straight line speed. So he's going to struggle to get back up to speed, I'd say. So he'll drop down a few positions, but we might see him climb his way back up a little bit later in the race. But Jason Martin's managed to take it into the lead. At the moment, we've got cars too wide down the front stretch as they come into turn number 1. Joshua Carroll Walden down the inside of Josh Micklemore there. Jason Hartigan having a look at Micklemore as well. They're side by side as they come onto the back stretch, but Micklemore's managed to just cover off at the moment. Hartigan is starting to push hard though. He wants to try and get those positions back.
And look at this, all the while that this is going on, the Ninja, Michael Skurlock, is in 4th place.
It's almost like we called it, isn't it? Jason Hartigan just making a great move down the inside of Josh Micklemore there. Hartigan going down the inside through turn number 3 and 4, getting down in front of Micklemore now. Hartigan working his way up the field. And this is giving Bradley Allison a chance, as well as Lachlan Uruguay. He's coming up there as well.
Fantastic to see this fight back. Really great to see Lachlan in the top 10 though.
Yeah, he's having a solid race tonight and giving us a good performance too, as Neil Pearson and Foster start to make a little bit of contact. Let's push Foster down on the inside. He's going to try and get down the inside of Jason Martin now. They go side by side through the final corner. Foster's managing to keep it there. Martin's going to get a better drive out the corner, but Foster's going to have to come up and cover that outside line again. Very close racing at the front. Bit of bumping there from Pearson and Foster.
Absolutely, this is what we like to see. A little bit of hip and shoulder action, nothing too dramatic, but it's lending itself to some great racing.
That's it. It's good to see. And rubbing is racing. That's the thing about NASCAR. Rubbing is racing. Nothing wrong in a little bit of panel rubbing. As long as you don't push it too hard, you're not going to turn the car in front of you around. But Pearson's putting a lot of pressure on Foster now, who has just given a little bit of gap to Jason Martin.
Yeah, you can see Pearson right up into Foster's block hole there, but Foster's managed to put a little bit of a gap on Pearson. He's really got to be the meat in the sandwich for a little while now, Foster. He's 2nd place, trying to fend off 3rd place, trying to get to 1st.
Yeah, it's a bit of an uneven sandwich though, because there are quite a few cars behind him now that are trying to jostle for that position. You've got Skurlock, Gallagher, Carroll Walden, Hartigan, Micklemore, Allison, even Lachlan is sort of starting to, he's falling off a bit from the back of Bradley Allison, but those guys are still there ready to go, and they are really pushing Foster hard at the moment. Foster's having to defend all of that pressure himself, while Jason Martin's just able to cruise away and not have to worry about that rear view mirror for the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and it almost looks like Skurlock is just sitting there in 4th place, waiting for his opportunity, as usual, to make a move.
And Foster's just had to go low. He's jumped down low to try and take advantage of a lapped car there. He tried his best to get down the inside of Martin there, just pushing his luck there, but that gave Pearson a run. Pearson's going to get a run down the inside of him now. He's going to get a run down the inside of turns 1 and 2. That's going to push Foster up quite wide. They're going to go side by side. Foster's got tapped into the wall, and Foster's going round. Foster's gone round into Skurlock. The two have managed to keep going. The caution flag hasn't come out. And that's dropped Foster and Skurlock down a fair few positions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not what Foster would have wanted after such a brilliant display and managing to make his way through the field. He's not going to be a happy camper.
He's not going to be, and you got to say Skurlock as well. He just was the unlucky recipient of that incident.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's caught him out quite a lot. So that's dropped Foster down to 10th, Skurlock down to 14th there. So dropping some of the Cup drivers down a bit, some of the chase drivers down a bit. This is giving Gallagher a chance, though. He's now in 3rd place. Josh Ducal rolling in 4th.
Yeah, so we're seeing Pearson and Gallagher are definitely going to be defending hard now with JCW sort of trying to make a move. There's a fair bit of a gap between JCW and Gallagher, but there's still plenty of racing left to go.
There is, yeah. These guys are going to start smelling blood in the water there as well, because they are running quite fast at the moment. There's a few fast cars behind them, but as I say, a lot of these cars are carrying battle wounds now. There's a few scars on these vehicles, so they are struggling a little bit. But just going back a little bit, back to P10, Foster is starting to try and charge his way back up the field again. He's just got back behind Matt Hunter now. So he's managing to work his way up the field a little bit. Foster's probably going to be seeing red a bit too from that, trying to get those positions back.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the red mist has probably descended for Foster, and he's going to be trying hard to make as many positions as he can.
That's it. It's an easy thing to happen when you're a driver, and you do get that red mist descend, and you got to be careful sometimes, because if you go too hard, you can make mistakes. If you push too quickly, too hard, you can start making mistakes, and that can be the end of your race. Not just a sort of lower place finish than you expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you find yourself worse off, in a worse position, and starting to go backwards.
Good little battle between Lachlan and Bradley Allison at the moment. Bradley Allison just running a slightly more defensive line, more middle of the track line than everybody else at the moment. Lachlan seems to have a little bit more speed on him. So Bradley Allison's just running that midline just to try and put Lachlan off a little bit. Get him so he just can't overtake up the high side and can't go down the inside either. So good defensive driving there.
Yeah, he's just placing his car and making life really difficult for Lachlan now as he goes a bit high. Is he going to drop down low and try to make a move here? No, he's not close enough.
No, he's sort of, you can see the opportunity, but you just don't have the speed to do it, and that's the thing that can really be frustrating. Up at the pointy end, Hamish Gallagher started to catch on Neil Pearson as well, so those two are starting to look very racy with each other. So they're sort of working on each other at the moment, trying to get past and putting pressure on each other as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether Pearson might have a little bit extra damage after that incident with Foster there as well.
Yeah, may have just got a little bit more front end damage, just might have hit the suspension a little bit. Those things can change the way the car goes. It wasn't much impact though, so he should be okay relatively. It was a relatively low impact position, but that still doesn't make it feel better.
And look at this, we've got Matt Hunter and buying into
just
this.
To cut back over JP, just jumping down to Foster. He's had a bit of a moment getting his teammate Norman Clark past him, and he's gone into the wall a little bit. So a bit of a bump onto Foster into the wall. So he's just gone up high and gone into the marbles. He's tapped Clark, but managed to keep the car going, but he's got some serious damage on there. He's going to lose a few more positions, I'd say.
Yeah, he's decided to bring it into the pits and try to get some repairs on the car. And like we were saying, you know, sometimes when you push a bit too hard, you don't end up by going forwards, you go backwards.
Yeah, real shame there. Hamish Gallagher up into the wall as well. Gallagher just getting up there. And a moment for Lachlan as well. Lachlan has got tagged by somebody out there, the 041. The 041's just got into Lachlan's side, and that's caught Norman Clark as well. Oh, disastrous couple of laps for the JP Simshed team there.
Yeah, it looks like they've all bar Hardigan have sort of come to some kind of mischief there.
That's it. It's been an unlucky few laps there for those guys.
Sorry, Carl. Speaking of Hardigan, he's now in 4th place.
Yeah, he's got some serious speed. He's managed to get past. Josh Carroll-Walden's just dropping back a little bit. He's got Josh Micklemore right on him at the moment. But at the moment, Hartigan is really starting to climb in pace. He's got some good pace out there. He's setting some good lap times as they go. Hamish Gallagher as well. He's working hard with Neil Pearson. Those two are really battling it out at the moment. And that's starting to let Hartigan catch up to those guys because they're fighting so hard. He's starting to catch up.
Yep, and we just saw Gallagher take Neil Pearson there.
So yeah, Gallagher out in front now. So this could be Gallagher's chance to start getting some clean air on the car. We'll see how much speed he's got in there. He's got a fairly hefty gap towards Jason Martin now. So he's going to have to put in some serious good lap times to start catching up. But it looks like he's faster than Pearson. So he's going to start pulling away there as a mysterious cone comes up. But causes no issue. But that's going to help Hartigan start catching up onto P3.
He's already caught up 0.2 of a second in the space of about 2 corners there. So Hartigan is really on a charge. It'll be great if he can actually make his way up and get into a podium position.
Yeah, he's hungry for it for sure. He is really pushing that car, and he is setting some good lap times at the moment. Almost 0.3 faster than Pearson that time round. So he is setting some good lap times at the moment, Hartigan. He is starting to catch up. I think his car is just working a little bit better than the others at the moment out there. And he seems to be working the tyres as well. Working the tyres well. So he's starting to catch up on Pearson, who might have pushed a bit too hard, a bit too early there.
Well, he had a fast car at the start of the race, and he got into some pretty bad luck there, Hartigan. So now his car's a lot fresher. He's repaired. He's got good rubber. So yeah, he's definitely making hay while the sun's shining for him.
That's it, making the best of a bad situation, and
he's got that gap now to under a second between himself and Pearson, and I'm sure Pearson is seeing this time go down in his relative, and he's going to be wondering, what am I going to do to keep Hartigan behind me?
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that one. Just dropping back a little bit further to P7 now. Matt Hunter, he's got Michael Skurlock all over the back of him. They just got past Bradley Allison. So Bradley Allison had a little bit of a scruffy moment, I think, and that's allowed Matt Hunter and Skurlock to get past. Now Skurlock is right on the back of Matt Hunter. So those two are really putting pressure on each other as well. Hunter doing a great job, up 14 positions from his starting position. Having a great race tonight, Matt Hunter, and Skurlock is all over him as well. Skurlock getting a good recovery from that incident a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, brilliant to see Matt Hunter having such a great race and being able to sort of hold off Skurlock. And I'm sure Skurlock's doing what Skurlock does best. He's just sitting there patiently waiting for an opportunity, and then he'll capitalise on it. But yeah, brilliant racing by Matt Hunter.
Yeah, great to see, as we say. Big friend as Skurlock starts to think about making that move. He's coming down, putting the pressure down on the inside now, and he goes down the inside of Matt Hunter. Skurlock getting the position made, but he's going to go a little bit slower out the corner. This could give Matt Hunter the chance for the crisscross. Will he make it work? Doesn't look like it, no. Skurlock managing to take the position, but Matt Hunter holding off the pressure for a good few laps there. Great job from Matt Hunter.
Yeah, brilliant work from Matt Hunter. Hard to keep the ninja behind you.
It is indeed. Just looking back again, just a little bit further back, Stephen Williams has had a good recovery earlier on. Obviously had a bit of an incident. He's managed to work his way back up into the top 10, so he's in P9 at the moment, just ahead of Bradley Allison. So great job from Stephen Williams getting up there on his 200th race, running the 200 tonight, of course, as well for the series. So good to see that too. But Right now, the battle is starting to heat up for P3 as Pearson is dropping time. He's hemorrhaging time to that of Jason Hartigan behind him. There's only a 10th in it now. Looks like Hartigan is going to start applying the pressure to Pearson now and try and get into P3.
Yeah, now what Hartigan needs to do, he needs to be a little bit patient, wait for the opportunity and then make his move and make it decisive.
That's the thing. He needs to just get down on the right part of track, make the move at the right time, and he's got to get it done within 7 laps. So it's starting to run out of lap time now. We're on lap 144 of 150. So he's got to start thinking about making that move relatively soon, because he doesn't have all night to do it, but he's definitely got the pace at the moment.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see Pearson maybe start to use that middle of the track and make life difficult for Hartigan now.
As much as he can. They're coming up to a lapped car at the moment, and this could be the opportunity for Jason Hartigan if he can get Pearson in the wrong position. So if he can box him in here, it could work out well for him. But he's got to obviously try and get into that spot. So that lapped car being Danny G at the moment. So Danny G there missing the whole front end of his car still. But he was looking at coming down low for that one, just to let him low pass. He's going to stay up on the high line now. So Pearson's going to have to sort of come down low. That could give him a little bit worse run off the corner. It's probably going to affect Hartigan more, though.
Yeah, you can see.
You can see there that Hartigan just getting not quite as much run off the corner, and he's got just caught behind Danny G now, and that's going to start slowing him down. He's really got to get past this car. He's going to go up high now. Danny G getting down low. It was just Danny G just couldn't get down into that position, unfortunately. And again, that's that problem of being a lapped car sometimes. You can just find it very hard to find a good position to be passed on.
Yeah, 100%. It's not like Danny G was intentionally making it difficult for the guys. It was just finding a way to let them get past him.
Yeah, he did a good job there. Just a bit further back, a couple of laps ago, Matt Hunter managed to get back past Michael Skurlock. A similar incident, just going past a lapped car. Skurlock just got caught out a little bit by that one. And that's given Matt Hunter the chance to get back up into that P7 now.
Yeah, and he's got a reasonable lead on Michael Skurlock as well.
Yeah, he's in a good position at the moment. And we'll see how that one runs out. We've only got 2 laps to go now, so it's going to be tricky getting past now. There's not many people that are in a passing position. As we hit lap 149, Jason Martin got a great lead at the moment. Hamish Gallagher just sitting behind him. Neil Pearson with a fast charging Jason Hartigan. He's putting all he can into that car. He's literally just probably jumping back and forth in his seat at the moment just to try and make it go faster. So on lap 150, so white flag lap, the hybrid racing simulations, white flag lap is out. Final lap to go for Jason Martin. Right now, the ones to watch, Neil Pearson and Jason Hartigan, because Jason Hartigan is trying his best to get past Pearson at the moment. He's putting all the pressure he can on him, trying his best to get past there. Will he be able to do it before the flag as Jason Martin comes around the final corner for the final time, takes out the win for the first time in the chase. Neil Pearson's managed to keep Hartigan just behind him for P3. Hamish Gallagher takes a great P2. Close finish there.
Absolutely, that was an absolute nail-biter. Hats off to Hartigan from coming back from where he was, which you would have thought he was written out of this race to finish in P4.
Yeah, brilliant job there from him as well. Just on that last lap as well, Michael Skurlock just got up into the wall, and that gave Stephen Williams the opportunity to get past and get up into P8 in the end there. So he managed to get a good result in the end for Stephen Williams. Just on that last lap, Matt Hunter there in 7th, Josh Carroll in 6th, 5th was Josh Micklemore. Relatively quiet night for Josh Micklemore. He just didn't seem to have much pace out there tonight.
Yeah, it just didn't sort of come together for him.
Bit of a struggle, unfortunately. Jason Hardigan managing to get the car back up into 4th place after that earlier incident. A couple of incidents in that races where he sort of just got caught out, unfortunately, but managing to recover to 4th place, brilliant job. Excuse me. P3 was Neil Pearson, 2 was Hamish Gallagher, and 1st was Jason Martin. And then rounding out our top 10 was Stephen Williams, Skurlock, and Bradley Allison in 10th place. Great drive by Bradley Allison as well. Good job. He managed to get P10, kept relatively calm all race, wasn't pushing too hard, was just thinking about this next part of the season, this next part of the chase for himself. Adam Rosell got 11th with Danny G in 12th. 13th was Edward Foster with Norman Clark 14th. Of course, those two in the chase as well, and that's going to affect their points for the next few races. So all 3 of those drivers finishing so close together, that will work out well for the championship. They're not too far away from Williams and Skurlock as well, so not the biggest disaster for them. Lachlan is in 15th with Riley Curtis 16th. Andrew Dyson 17th with Michael Schroeder 18th. 19th was Mirko Dornak with Tristan Koch in 20th. Aidan Schultz got 21st with Devon Stove 22nd. Roger Clark 23rd with James Robbie 24th. 25th was Jake Maloney with Thor Otto 26th. 27th was Raymond Yeager, and Bill Hickey rounded us out 28th. Kai Sloggett didn't start, down in 29th.
Great racing, really exciting. That was absolutely brilliant.
Highs, lows, and all the wobbly bits in between there for that race.
Absolutely. So this is pretty much set the tone for the chase. Moving forward, it's definitely going to be some exciting racing as we get on to the next rounds.
Well, that's the thing. It's the thing about the chase, of course, is it gives drivers that aren't in it the opportunity to race for a win. They can race much harder than those guys in the chase. Those guys in the chase, they have to think about conserving their championship. They have to think about championship position and also finishing ahead of the guys around them. So it can be very tricky sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, some fantastic racing. Let's see if we can maybe get some drivers. Let's start perhaps tonight with Neil Pearson, Carl.
We'll grab Jason Martin down first, I think.
Jason Martin. All right, let's grab Jason Martin.
Jason Martin for Mitch Motorsport. Congratulations on that win in the first round of the chase.
Woo! Hell yeah.
Obviously, I imagine you're quite happy with that one.
Oh, this is one of my worst tracks. I'm absolutely stoked.
It can be a very tricky to run at. Darlington, definitely not in my top 10 of favourites. It looked tricky out there tonight, though. Tyres did not look like they were sticking to the track long.
Yeah, we'd get a pretty big push going up into the turns, and you'd get so close to that wall every single lap. And I think around lap 85, lap 90, I absolutely really nailed that wall and had a fair bit of damage. But yeah, still managed to hang on. I'm absolutely stoked.
Now, I was going to ask you about that because I did mention earlier on in the race, your car looked surprisingly clean up until that point, and then all of a sudden I noticed a big chunk out the front of the car. So I apologise for the commentator's curse. But yeah, now we know what happened. You looked relatively in control tonight, though. You had some decent pace out there.
Yeah, I'm normally pretty quick here, but I just hate this track, and I always put it in the wall all by myself and wreck the car. But yeah, luckily I only got it a little bit, I guess, and was still good enough to hang on.
That's it. I think there was a lot of cars behind you with some battle damage, so I think that helped out a lot too, obviously. Battle damaged cars are a little bit easier to race against sometimes. But the big thing now is, of course, this is the perfect start to the chase for you.
Oh, yeah, cheers, mate. I looked at this track and I said, oh, if I can get a top 5, I'll be wrapped with that because I just hate this track.
It's definitely not the favourite out there, but you had a fantastic run out there. Great job. Congratulations on the win. Before we let you head off, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I've got to thank Bob King at BK Designs for the throwback scheme. It's Brad Keselowski. He won the 2018 Darlington here, and yeah, that might have helped me get that win.
I did actually mention that at the beginning. I thought I knew that paint scheme, so I'm happy I got the right one there. It looked great, by the way. I love the Mitch logo instead of the Miller one. Fantastic job on that paint scheme.
EK Design did a great job, and yeah, I've got to thank the boys at Mitch Motorsports. They kept me calm throughout the race, and got to thank ANZCAR for the league, JP Simshed for the great broadcast, and well done to Hamish again. Good job, second.
Yeah, that's it. The closest rival in the chase is Hamish Gallagher, and he's getting stronger and stronger with each race. So definitely one to watch out for. Thank you so much, Jason. I'm sure we'll catch you up in the booth again soon. Until then, have a good night.
Oh yeah, no mate.
Jason Martin and Mitch Motorsport. Next, we will grab down Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher, congratulations on the second place.
Thanks, Carl. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, very good, actually. That gave us a lot to talk about. We had a few things to talk about on the broadcast tonight, which is always fun. Great result for yourself, though. You had a relatively tricky race all night. It didn't look easy out there for you.
Yeah, oh boy, there's plenty of drama tonight. Kicked the chase off, wasn't there? My goal really was just to try and ride it out, because I haven't really driven this track much at all, really. Only a couple of races, so she's a dangerous place, so I just tried to keep it clean. I did crinkle the right side even then, still like 10 laps in, but yeah, she all went off in front of me. Like, Hardigan, he had his wreck right in front of me. I managed just to get through. Foster had his wreck just in front of me, just got through. So a little bit more luck on my side tonight, which has really helped me.
Well, as the old saying goes, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But you tend to have both sections on your side usually, and definitely tonight you've had some seriously good pace out there as well as the luck.
Yeah, the boys were running pretty hard at the start of the runs, and I was just trying to back the corners up, try and save my right front, because it gets pretty tight later in the run. So I was often at the start of each stint, had the guys all hanging all over me, and I just letting them go, and then I just catch them back later on. So it worked out well for me. But yeah, like we got a bit dodgy on the tyres. I've never got down to the last set of tyres in a race. So I was glad it stayed green to the end, because it would have been a shambles if we'd had a late caution, I think, tonight.
Yeah, something I actually was going to mention, of course, because there was a fair few stops for yourself there. So obviously you did use all sets tonight, and that must be a bit of a sinking feeling towards the end of the race, especially when those couple of incidents happened where the caution didn't come out.
Yeah, like we had one set to go and had 90 laps. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a long run. But yeah, like I saw Danny, he made an extra stop early, so I knew he was kind of screwed once we had those late cautions, because I knew he didn't have any fresh tyres. So I was glad it wasn't Danny tonight. But yeah, put this one in the books. I'm happy to get it behind me.
And obviously, this being the first race of the chase, and yourself being in the chase this season, not a bad way to kick it off.
Yeah, that's right, Carl. Thank you.
No, so before we let you skedaddle and rush out of here, do you like to thank anyone, give shout outs, all that kind of stuff tonight?
Yeah, give a shout out to you guys for the stream again, as always. I'm sure it'll be good fun to watch this race back, and just all the competitors in general. Like, this racing's really fun. So, special shout out as well to Stephen for his 200th race. So, see, he got a top 10 there, so that's not too bad. So, I hope he's happy with that.
I imagine he'll be quite happy with that. He had a bit of an eventful race when you watch it back. I'm sure you'll see that one, the adventure with Stephen. There's a few of those tonight. But thank you so much, Hamish, and we'll catch you again later in the season. Good luck for the rest of the chase.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Hamish Gallagher there, 13 Design. So next up, we'll grab down Neil Pearson. So Neil Pearson, congratulations on that P3 finish.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you back in the box, of course. Nice to see you up again here with the DPR team. Was a bit of an eventful race there for yourself, obviously, but you managed to fight your way back up to P3, so congratulations on that. Obviously, you had some decent speed, though, managing to get the pole position as well.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised to put it on pole. Yeah, I just did my stuff, and yeah, then it timed out. I'm like, cool, I'll take that.
I must admit, so was I, because last time I looked at the screen, it wasn't you in pole position. So I had a moment of stutter at the start of this race. But yeah, congratulations on that one. Obviously, tricky night for you there just towards the end. Little bit of contact, things like that. But working your way back up the field, how did that all go out for you, having to get past the people?
It was very tricky, and yeah, the contact with Foster wasn't ideal. I thought he was going to back out of it a bit harder than he did, and sort of lit up the track. But yeah, going through the field, it was difficult because it's a really hard track to pass. You've really got to set up everything, and the tires go off, and the car gets tight. So, but I just managed to do it somehow, and I was pretty happy.
I imagine so. And obviously for yourself, there's not really that pressure of the season now. So obviously with the chases, it's not your race to win, but you have races to win in individual races. So not having that pressure of the championship behind you, obviously, does that make it slightly easier, or is it a little bit harder for yourself?
It's always easier when there's not a championship on the line. I mean, you just rock up and drive and do your own thing, and you don't have to worry about getting taken out or what it's going to do to you. So it's good.
So are you coming back to any other races this season, or you're just sort of seeing how it goes at the moment?
I'll have to look at the schedule. Scops and is really my main focus. So if I'm doing that, I won't be. But I mean, for the fun tracks, like I'm hoping to do Bristol because I don't really like the cookie cutter tracks. They're a bit dull, and so like the more interesting races, I don't know if you'll see me in those. So.
Awesome. We look forward to having you back a few times this season. So, yeah, it's nice to see you out there whenever you're out there, because you usually give us some good racing and some good positions as well. Before I let you skedaddle, though, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Just Edward Foster for the good, clean racing, and just you guys for the awesome broadcast, and simrigs.com for the fantastic racing cockpits, best you can get. Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, and BetSmart Racing Services, and the rest of the DPR boys.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming up, Neil. We'll catch you hopefully again towards the end of the season. Maybe we'll see you at those short tracks, and maybe see you back in the booth before the year's out.
Hopefully I can visit you guys with the W.
Good luck, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
All right, see you guys.
Neil Pearson there, DPR Baymax. So good result in the end. Bit of a tricky race for him. Bit of a tricky race for a few people, JP.
Yeah, look, a few people probably didn't end up where they wanted to or hoped to. A few people once again suffered that all all-encompassing bad luck. But on to the next round, and the old adage, some will, some won't. So what next?
That's very much the thing, and obviously it can be tricky, and the chase can be very tricky in that respect. Sometimes it can be a very harsh mistress, but we're up next at Richmond, so a bit of a different layout, bit of a different track again. Richmond can be again quite tricky, a bit of a short track. So we're off there for September the 3rd, so next week now, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll be back for that and broadcasting, of course. Anything else coming up on the SimShed Network, JP?
Well, yeah, on Monday we've got the Club Day Masters, so the MX5s, and on Tuesday we have the final round for Season 2 of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Evolution Championship. That's going to be the Bathurst endurance race, so 40 laps, 250 kilometres around Bathurst, and it's going to be a nail-biter of a championship. 47 points separates the top three in the championship. We will be having a top 10 shootout, so we'll be starting a little bit earlier at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, on the Wednesday, we'll be showing the replay of Split 2 for the NTS Bathurst race. And, of course, as always, Thursdays, we're back here with the ANZCAR Abruzzi Cup.
Absolutely. And just on the ANZCAR side of things, if you do fancy giving the series a bit of a run, we of course have our truck series, and that's next up at Auto Club Speedway. So it's on the 31st, so this coming Monday. And of course, then you can watch the Auto Club Masters afterwards on recording. So that's always a nice thing. But if you do fancy giving this time a series a go, we always have the trucks open and say that's a good way of getting into the sport because, well, it's a little bit like a feeder series. And then we've got the Grand National Series as well, which will be at Michigan, the last of the ovals for the 87 cars. And that will be on September the 2nd. So again, if you want to give the throwback cars a race Wednesday nights, and that will be on the Wednesday night, September 2nd, definitely come give it a go. Very, very fun series, and you get to crash into me, which is always fun.
That'd be a bit of a hoot, I think.
Most people do enjoy wrecking me. It tends to be a risk of being a commentator, I guess. All those curses come back to payback, I suppose. But from tonight, from the first round of the chase here at Darlington for the ANZCAR Abruzzi Cup, I'll be wishing you a good night, and we'll finish off with you, JP.
Well, yeah. So thanks for joining us. Thanks everyone for watching. Big thanks to all of our sponsors: Abruzzi Raceware, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, Hybrid Racing Simulations, iLiveries, and Track Cams for Gourmets. So for myself, it's good night. Carl, thanks once again for having me.
You're always welcome in the booth. It's always nice to have a second voice. And good night, everyone. And we'll see you for the next round. Bye-bye.